Oh my gosh.
Good morning, everyone.
Can I give you cash for the donation or no?
A check would be.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Monroe County Chamber of Commerce and our Coffee Club on the state of education. Thank you to all who are joining us, both here in person and distanced in this crazy COVID world that we're in. And also those of us joining online and watching at a later time, we thank you all for joining us today. A reminder that the Chamber's vision is to foster innovation and collaboration, and I am Matt Buds, and I'm still getting used to not having a Chamber title associated with my name, but with More Buds Lawn, we're proud to sponsor as a Chamber Cornerstone partner both this series and throughout the year, and of course glad that I had prior chance to serve on the board of the Chamber. We also want to thank Derek Arnold with River Raisin Security and Technologies for helping the Chamber film our event today and make all of our technology needs happen. As we always do, a reminder of upcoming Chamber events to add to your calendar. First, coming up quickly here on Monday, March 15th, will be Legislative Luncheon with Congressman Tim Walberg. That will be at Forest View Lanes. Make sure that you register soon. I know that space is filling up for that event in person, and if you can get that completed by the 11th, that would be recommended. On Wednesday, March 17th, will be the Chamber's Book Club. This month's book is Start With Why, How Great Leaders Inspire Everyone to Take Action by Simon Sinek. On Thursday, March 25th, will be the Chamber's annual meeting event. That will be located here at the Chamber's new location, and there will be tours of the building. So if you like what you've seen so far and want to see more of the building, we encourage you to be here for that event. Again, Thursday, March 25th. And then on Thursday, April 1st, will be the second Back to Basics event for the Chamber. That again will also be right here at the Chamber's new location. We'd like to acknowledge our event sponsors for today's event. Our series sponsors, first up will be Lazy Boy Incorporated, and we have Sue Banisacker, who will tell us just a bit about what's happening at Lazy Boy. Sue.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Matt. I'm thrilled to be here on behalf of Lazy Boy. You know, Lazy Boy is always proud to partner with the Chamber on important business initiatives for both businesses large and small. And at Lazy Boy, we continue to want you to live life comfortably. A huge thank you today to our education partners that are here to speak. We know what a challenge this year has been and the difficult decisions that you've had to make, always keeping the safety and security of our students and your staffs at the forefront. So thank you so much for helping to build the leaders for Michigan's Cornerstone.
Thank you, Sue, and thank you, Lazy Boy. Next from the Monroe County Community Credit Union is Kate Hall. I'll give Kate a moment to come up here and tell us what's happening with the credit union.
Thank you, Matt. Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to see you all today. I am very pleased to be here at another Chamber function, especially one dedicated toward learning a little bit more about what's going on in education. The world continues to be an uncertain place, and it's really amazing what our school systems have done to overcome and adapt to the challenges. I'm very happy to announce that the credit union will be rolling out a new scholarship program this year to support students. In light of everything that's been going on, we wanted to do our part to impact the lives of a handful of students. So on March 31st, we will be opening up 5 $1,000 scholarships for high school seniors. It's available to any student who's going on to a 2-year, 4-year, or continuing education trade school. And we are just really excited to be able to support students in a new way and just hopefully help them on their journey, because this last year was certainly not what they were expecting. So you can find all details on our website, or if anyone has any questions, you can obviously contact me as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kate. Our next sponsor is the Mannequin Smith Group, and we have from the Mannequin Smith Group a Chamber board member as well, Eric Bennett, to say just a word or two about what's happening with Mannequin Smith Group today.
Well, good morning, everyone. We're, as everyone else, excited to be here, see a few people in person, and hopefully see a lot of people on the camera. So hopefully everyone's able to catch up and enjoy a little bit of time together here, socially distanced as always. But we're always excited to be here and support the chamber, obviously with my position on the board, as well as Mannequin Smith being, you know, your local engineering firm here, working with many of you on your engineering, surveying, environmental needs. But today, the spotlight being on the education side of things, it is very exciting. Obviously, I give it to Dr. McNew and all the superintendents, the administration throughout the county. I think they've done one heck of a job continuing to give our students and our youth the opportunity to learn amongst everything that's going on. It's I think we've all made adjustments and you know, went to the virtual world. Some of us were more comfortable with it than others. Some of us have gone virtual, some of us have gone hybrid, some of us have gone in person, a little bit of both, back and forth, but being nimble, you know, and school districts aren't necessarily something you always think of as being nimble, or at least I've been. And I say I'm very proud of everything that we've seen throughout Monroe County and the leadership that we've had that have continued educating the students. So if no more than just a thank you to all the administration throughout the county. Mannequin Smith's always going to be here to support. So, and my one plug would be, if you know anyone looking for an engineering survey, environmental scientist co-op, we are open. We have a lot of work, and we're looking for those college students that are looking for a little experience. So, thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. We'd also like to acknowledge a sponsor today as Beaumont Trenton Hospital. I don't believe anybody from Beaumont was able to join us today, but we'd like to acknowledge them for their continued support. And the always wonderful time where I get to introduce myself. More Buds Law is excited to always be a sponsor of chamber events. It's been an important part of our practice, and as those of you that know, soon I'll be coming up on 1 year of having founded that firm with my partner Catherine Moore, and we're very glad to say it's been a successful year. It's certainly been a challenging time to start a new business, but we also set out of great challenges, came great opportunities for the two of us. Happy to serve the community here in southeastern Michigan with whatever your legal needs may be, particularly in the areas of your business, real estate, probate, estate planning, and similar type work. I will say on a personal note, being in this room is sort of an interesting thing and a journey for me. For those of you that don't know, I do the legal work for the city of Monroe, and to see this space change from what it was, and I'll say at heart a little bit of a challenge is I have a 7-year-old hockey player, so I had to get over a little bit of that scenario, but to then say here was the promise of what was going to be delivered, and to see it in action and to be in this room is really an exciting thing, and I think tells a lot about the dedication to both, I'll say, history and education in our community. And with that, I'll move us on to hearing from those that really know about education and the challenges that they have faced this year. So again, thank you to everyone that's been involved in education and in this process that brings us to this room today. We'd also like to thank our breakfast sponsor. I always say you can't have a coffee club without coffee, so we'd like to thank Tim Hortons for their continued support. And with that, it's my pleasure to move to the introduction of our speakers today. We have Dr. Stephen McNew, Superintendent of the Monroe County Intermediate School District, and a longtime member of the Chamber Board as well, and also Dr. Don Spencer, the former Superintendent of the Monroe County Intermediate School District, as they're going to walk us through the state of education in Monroe County today. We thank both of them for their continued service and support for education in our community. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, let me take this off. Much easier to talk. It's my pleasure to be here today to talk about an initiative, really, that started way back in 1997, actually probably the year before that, that resulted in some very amazing things that we're going to talk about. And you're going to see some examples of some of the work that is being done by our students as a result of the Monroe County Regional Technology Enhancement Millage. The millage came about because of Proposal A. When Proposal A passed in 1995, or was implemented in 95, there was no way for school districts to get operational millages anymore. The funding basically was shifted to the state. And what we were seeing as educators at that time was a gap developing between our schools and our business community with surrounding technology, and the need for our students to be trained, to be exposed to more current technologies than were available in our schools then. Basically, we had nothing. And to tell you how far we've come, in that first millage election, we were looking at having email for everybody. And computer carts and labs and things like that. So the technology millage has given us the resources that our schools need to move forward with training or educating and training students. Our theme is equity. The technology millage is levied across the county. It is 0.986 mils. It's less than a mil for a homeowner with a taxable value on their home of $100,000. It's about $98.66 a year, and you can take it from there. But what that assessment, what happens with that assessment is truly remarkable. And any educator with their, every educator wants educational opportunity equalized. And this technology millage does that. This is the breakdown of the tech millage currently. It results in the far right corner there in $312 and about 95 cents per student. So that the dollars are collected by the ISD, and within 10 days they have to be distributed to the recipients, and that's all based on student enrollment. So that's where the equity comes in. So whether you're in Airport or Whiteford, those students are getting $312.95. The school district is getting that to put towards technology. And the village, this is the language. It can only be used for technology and related expenses. And this just lays it out, but what I want to stress at the bottom, you'll see the districts that are involved. And one of the changes in this particular election is that the dollars will now be also used in our charter schools and at the intermediate school district. This was a law that was put into effect, in the middle of the night, as sometimes the legislature likes to do. And there were really no charter schools at that time in the county. But the ISDs were left out inadvertently. It was a mistake, but it took a long time to correct that or to adjust that. And so there is a change in that. So really, all students attending any public entity, any public school district in the county will now receive that, including the ISD and the two charter schools. So that $312 is actually going to be about probably the $290 per pupil to start, but of course that will be sensitive to taxes and assessments and taxable values. These are two important dates. March 20th, the absentee ballots are mailed. People are voting absentee. I think everybody in this room probably got, if you live in the county, certainly received requests to get an absentee ballot if you wanted one. And the polls are open on May 4th from 7 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. Steve, I'll turn this over to you.
Okay, we're pushing our time limit just because we're going to do something really cool today. We're going to connect with students and staff at Mason Senior High School first. And then we're going to move on to Bedford Junior High School. And speaking of Bedford, I want to introduce Dr. Carl Schultz. He is the superintendent at Bedford Public Schools. So we were talking yesterday, it's been 1 year since we started this whole pandemic thing. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Some other folks I want to introduce. Matthew Prang. Matthew is our Director of Instructional Technology at the ISD. He is making these connections for us. Andrea Murphy, she's my administrative assistant. She was Dr. Spencer's administrative assistant, and Christy Esper, she's our graphic designer at the ISD. So thank you so much for being here. After we connect at those two sites, then we're going to go to Manor Elementary, which is part of Monroe Public Schools. What I want to say real quickly, There's slides that we could talk about, but you talked about how we were able to quickly move forward. On March 13th last year, we met with all of our staff members and we said, you have until the end of the day today to figure out how we're going to move to remote learning. Now you got to remember, on our campus we have special needs students. So the next 6 to 8 hours, you can only imagine how crazy that was. But the beauty of the technology in this community, now we don't get the tech funds, the ISD doesn't, but our local districts had. Straight across the board, that was the same way out of Bedford Public Schools. You had a day to make it happen. And every student in this county was able to move to a remote learning environment by that next Monday because of the technology that we had. Now our connectivity was an issue, and people like Lazy Boy and the Community Foundation and DTE and the United Way, and I think even Monroe Publishing, it's not Monroe Publishing anymore, but those folks came up and said, hey, what can we do to help? And they've generated almost $200,000 now to help us put hotspots in the hands of students. Now Matthew's connected with a hotspot. I see it over there. And so he's able to do all of this, just like our students are able to do at home. And so it's been one hectic year. I can't even describe to you. Carl and I have been meeting at least weekly via Zoom since March 16th. And at times, back in March, we were meeting for hours at a time, just trying to figure out how we were going to make this happen. And the tech millage was the key. It truly was the key to allow learning to continue to take place immediately. So that being said, I'm not going to go through all this because we only have 45 minutes. We got 3 schools we want you to visit. Matthew, if you would. We're going to go first to Mason Senior High School. I want to thank Kelly Tuller, she's the superintendent down there, for making this happen. Is that Jason Burke?
Hi, yes. How you doing?
Hi, Jason. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Mason School, so we go Mason.
It's all yours, Jason.
Maybe Jennifer Earl is also speaking. Okay. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Hey, I just wanted to say thank you for your interest in supporting the Monroe County Technology Millage. The millage has allowed Mason to provide a foundation of technology to offer our students a lot of important resources, such as software-driven personalized learning plans, laptops in the classrooms, and STEM programs such as robotics. This is Mason's first year participating in robotics. We've had the opportunity to receive a torch that was passed by a Monroe County team called Virus, and with the help of the team's mentor, Mike Monarch, and one of our teachers at Mason, Aaron Zeems, and our media communications specialist, Jessica Hopper, we put together a wonderful program for the students at Mason Senior High School. The team's name is Bubo's Parliament, named after the mechanical eagle owl from the 1980s film Clash of the Titans. And to be honest with you, this year, as Dr. McNew was saying, has been very interesting for all of us here in the local districts. Without that tech millage, it would have been very difficult to provide things such as the robotics without having the resources available to us that we could do things remotely and collaborate in a way that we have never been able to collaborate before. So today I want to briefly introduce you to some of our team members who are able to be here today. They'll talk briefly about what the opportunity has been for them, and then we're going to run the robot for just a few minutes. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our team captain, Grant Hinscher, and just be with me here as I move around this camera. I have you on a USB camera that I'm going to move around. Okay, there's Grant.
All right, so first has been really cool for me because all of the students have come with last week on math and physics. And first was really cool because I was able to apply those things and use them in an engineering environment. So going forward, what I want to do in school or what I want to do for a career, this has been really cool, helpful, being able to use those things. And we learned some new things too, like computer science. I didn't know anything about computer science, but I learned more about it through this, and it's really neat. That's about it.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Lawson Kamenik.
So unlike Grant, I don't plan on joining this field later on in life, but it was a life-changing experience to be able to get along with my fellow classmates and be able to work towards one primary goal and many other ones, such as working on the robot and getting all the activities done.
Okay, thank you so much. We have Jacob Ansel with us.
Hey, what's up? I mostly focused on getting the activities done and setting up the obstacle course or whatever. We had to lay out a grid and all that to make the game possible, which is something that most teams didn't have to do before. It was set up by the competition, and so that's something new we had to work on. And I mean, it was pretty fun. And it was fun getting with all of them, our big team, and working towards this goal. They're all seniors, so they're mostly going to be gone, but they did help a lot to, get the team set up and all that.
Thank you very much. And we have Ken Cow. Michelle? Michelle, sorry about that.
Hello, I'm Cam Michaud. Everybody mispronounces my last name. Robotics has been very fun for me. It's been really great to just get together with my friends and play around with the robot. We've learned a great deal about what it means to put together the robot, all the software that goes into it. And it's just been an amazing experience altogether. Like Lawson, I don't intend on going into this field for my post-high school plans. However, I do have a great deal of interest in space, so this is very fun. Reminds me a lot of the rover missions, like the Perseverance mission on Mars right now. And it's just overall a great time.
Okay. So at this time, we would love to actually present the robot running. So we're going to have Lawson Kamenik and Jacob Ansel run the robot. As you can see here, they have a station set up, and we have the robot right over here. So I hope that gives you an idea of the different things that they've been able to work on. Obviously, it's been a fantastic year, being that their first year with robotics. We appreciate everything that Monroe County does for us, both in education and tech-wise. So we just ask that you, again, look at the interest in supporting the Monroe County Technology Village, and wanted to thank you today for all of your time and appreciate your interest in. So thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks, guys. I think the most impressive thing next to the robot was the hair that those kids had. I think we're going to move to Bedford Junior High School, and I heard you mention Jennifer Earle's name. Jennifer, are you part of this today? If she is, I want to brag on Jennifer for a little bit. Jennifer's a 29-year employee of Bedford Public Schools, but she has been instrumental in everything that's happened as far as technology in that district. She's been around as long as we have with this millage. She was here when we first passed the millage back in '97. And so there's not too many of us that are still around, but Jennifer, that is not Jennifer, but it is Jennifer, but it's not the same Jennifer that I'm talking about. This is Jennifer Hemry, who's famous now. She's been in the paper, and she's doing some great things with technology down at Bedford Junior High School, so I'm going to turn it over to her. Is Jennifer Earle there as well? Yeah, there she is. Hi, Jennifer. I was bragging about you.
Good morning, everybody. Can you also let all my students in, because they're also going to help with this? and it looks like several of them, many of them are still waiting to come in.
Well, while he's pulling all these people in, they're actually connected via our fiber network. We are connected with Lenawee ISD. Back in '97, the first thing that we did is we built a robust infrastructure. So we have 12 strands of fiber running throughout our county, connecting all of our schools and all the schools in Lenawee County as well. So all of these people here, well, I love it. Look at all the students. Very cool. But anyway, they're connected via our fiber that is ran through the ISD. So.
Okay, are we ready, everybody? Nathan, what do you still need to do, bud? Okay. I have one student still trying to get in. Thank you for your patience. He's just about ready. We appreciate this time that you've given us today to let us come in and present to you. Again, my name is Jennifer Henry, and I'm the 8th grade computer science teacher at Bedford Junior High School. Are you getting in, Nathan? Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen with you. So we have a presentation that we've prepared. Without the established technology infrastructure, one-to-one Chromebook initiative, and technology training provided from the money generated from the technology millage, teaching and learning would have been much harder during the pandemic. Because of our training and the technology provided, teachers at Bedford Public Schools feel confident to pursue further training to provide even more opportunities for students in our district. In order to prepare our students for the future, Bedford Junior High requires all students in grades 7 and 8 to take one marking period of computer science. This year, we also offered a year-long computer science elective for 8th graders, and my 8th grade year-long computer science class are the ones that are joining you today.
In 7th grade, we learned about the problem-solving process and proposed an idea for an app to solve a problem. We also developed a multi-page website using HTML programming language. In 8th grade, we learned about to use JavaScript and GameLab and Code.org. To program computer games, here are some examples.
So just a quick example of one of the types that the students coded in HTML coding in 7th grade. So they actually had to use the code to put the text and headings and a picture on the screen. And then they also had to create several different pages that are linked together. And I just had this student come in, so he was a little bit late this morning. He was going to show you one of his projects he made. So this is an example of our marking period long 8th grade computer science classes. They learn block coding for JavaScript and create several different projects. So this student, they learn how to do movement and put text and backgrounds and sprites on the screen. Go ahead, Boo.
I learned how to exploit moves, how to change them, how to end up changing them depending on the code, and how to make it interact with user inputs.
Excellent. Great job, Blue. Are you unmuted, Brian?
Okay, so this is take 8. Hey, 8 to this. Move like this. the sun is really strong. This why the present you'll be given as a microscope.
Great job, Ryan. Anna, good.
I made this game so if you touch a mushroom, you instantly lose the game. I created it to be a lot harder than all the other ones. So in the other ones, you could touch a mushroom for a certain amount of time. In mine, if you touch it at all, you lose.
Mason's game is tricky for me, so I'm going to do my best here.
For my science cover game, I added lots of velocity to it, and you have to get through the pipes with the arrow keys, I believe. It's been a long time. I don't exactly remember the controls. If you hit a pipe, you lose the game. If you hit the ground, you lose the game, and you collect coins to increase your score.
They make their games pretty hard, challenging.
For this one, I did the same thing with velocity. And, yeah.
Good job, Mason.
This one is a coin collecting game. The more coins you collect, the faster the coins drop down. And if you reach a high enough score, the background will change to blue.
Alright, I'm good at this one. It just takes a second for it to get, I think it's 10 coins and you'll see change. Some will go faster than others, so. There we go. Yep.
In the 8th grade year-long elective computer science class, we have used applabs and code.org to design and link screens to create an app that solves a problem in society. When it came to my app, my problem was learning how to use game development software to create other games, and my solution was the Game Engine Helper app. It had a simple to use UI, so it was easy to navigate, and it included 2 very popular game development software, Unity and Unreal Engine. These would both link to a YouTube video which shows you the basics on how to use said app, considering that I didn't know much about how to use it myself.
Data in society. We are currently learning about how computers use patterns and representation to encode and decode information. Computers use encoding schemes to store and retrieve meaningful information as data. This is known as data encoding.
Are you unmuted?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
We will gather our own data to develop an automated solution to problems.
So this is the unit we're working in right now. So eventually the students are going to be collecting data. They're going to be creating an app that recommends a vacation spot. So it'll ask what's their favorite food, and you select what's your best superpower, what animal do you like best, and based on those responses, it's recommending that I should vacation in a big city.
will be using Raspberry Pis to understand how the components of a computer are connected. In addition, we will learn some Python programming.
Landon, were you unmuted, bud? Okay.
Virtual reality would have been a really beneficial piece of technology to use for science experiments during the pandemic. Students could have done experiments virtually and lost out on that
Virtual reality can also be used in the future for job training, such as doctors training to do training astronauts or welding.
Are you good? Are you coming over? Okay, I have a student whose video and microphone isn't working, so just hold on, he's gonna come over.
We will be using Adafruit circuit playground to explore input and output of hardware. The Adafruit circuit playground consists of 10 neopixels which can each display any rainbow color, a motion sensor, a temperature sensor, a light sensor, and 8 pads that can act as touch inputs. Students can use applabinCode.org to develop programs that utilize same hardware inputs and outputs that we see in smart devices.
So these Adafruit circuit boards are really amazing, and you can do so many things with them. I think the ad might come up for this video first, but you can create, hold on for the ad to get done. So I don't know if you remember the Simon game from the 80s, but the students can code the circuit board to touch and light up and make sounds. So this is just one example of many projects that students can code this circuit board to do.
Since 1997, Monroe County Technology Management College has a fully for school business in Monroe County developed to provide students with the most up-to-date educational technology. Thank you for learning their learning how to
Great job, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and stop my share. So thank you again for inviting us to present today. It's a great opportunity for my students. We've been able to Zoom with many businesses around Monroe County in the last few weeks to see what types of things are happening in businesses. And thank you for support of the Technology Village. It's allowing us to do great things in the schools to help our students be prepared for the future.
Thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer Earl, thank you. All right, we are now going to move to Mason Elementary School, which is part of Monroe Public Schools. I think we have Justin is already connected. And is Emily going to be on the call as well?
I'm not sure if she is or not. I haven't seen her on here. Our day is just starting up, so she may be taking care of some things this morning.
All right, well, thank you, Justin, for being here.
For sure. So, my name is Justin Nye. I work at Manor Elementary in Monroe Public Schools. Some of the things that we're doing that, as we talk kind of about the technology and the technology village and things like that is, probably 2 years ago, we started an initiative called the DICE Lab. And if you don't know, Manor is a young 5 through 6th grade school. So, we've got a variety of ages all the way down to kids, younger than 5 at sometimes coming in. And so one of the things that I really wanted to do was be able to get some more hands-on activities, hands-on things for kids. We used to consider what I taught more of technology, just straight, computer class is what it may have been called at one point. And one of my plans was to change that over. So DICE stands for Design, Invent, Create, and Engineer. And so we've branched out in a variety of ways. We've gone, the school district supported me in purchasing things like sewing machines. We picked up a couple Crickets and heat presses. We were able to purchase some robotics pieces, whether it's the We-Dos for the robotics or whether it was the Mindstorm Lego robotics for older students, or even Blue Bots for like our young 5 and kindergarten students. And so now we've turned this lab, and unfortunately I'm not in my lab right now because they're using that for some of the older students with a learning lab set up here, but next week we'll be going back to where we'll have all our classrooms opened up and I'll be able to get back in there. But we've done a variety of things in there. So we started a group called Engineers in Action. We started our Spiritware group where we put kids in charge of some different things. And so last year was our first year where we had students. We actually set up all our orders. We created all the Spiritware for the school. The kids were in charge of it. They cut all the vinyl, they designed it, and we printed all the shirts that went out for Manor Elementary. For parents and students and everything had a big hand in that. So that was one of the pieces that we did. We also did a group called Engineers in Action, where that's a group that we do kind of like in lunches or after school, and did a variety of things to set up for like our in-services and for assemblies and things like that. We created confetti cannons, a variety of things where kids learned about different engineering principles, but then also we would create something. In the class, we did things like creating air-powered rockets, so what we're trying to do is, with the DICE Lab, we're trying to get our hands on things. We also were able to get 3D printers, and so we really pushed into 3D printing. And what was neat for me was this past March, Mr. Reed out at the high school and myself got really involved in 3D printing of masks and things like that. And so we were able to take video and things like that and then share with the students to show, how this could be used in real life and how it was being used in real life and by people that they knew. And, so it was just a neat way to kind of extend the CTE program down to the elementary level, where we had never had anything like that before. It was, we did do coding and things like that. We did it on the computers, but we had less hands-on where we could, put your hands on the materials and do things. And so it goes as simple as, going over engineering and building and things like that for the young students and doing tower building contests and a whole variety of things, all the way up to, doing soldering with our 6th graders and doing activities like that where they're working with LEDs and electronics and pieces of like that, preparing them for the middle school, what they'll start seeing there. So the DICE Lab was just a way for us to, get things, physical objects in kids' hands and let them design, let them build. We've done, purchased pieces to do cardboard where they can build cardboard, take cardboard apart and build their own things with it. With a variety of they have these plastic pieces that actually are screws, and the kids can create and screw things together and cut them with the tools that are safe for them, in our 2nd and 3rd grade classes. So it's just allowed them to really become creative and actually create things and kind of put to use what we're talking about, but kind of put it in their hands how it gets done. And so we've worked from where it was more of me passing out the information to now them taking information and then kind of rolling with it themselves. So like I said, we've gone mainly from just computer-based to now like a lot of hands-on variety of things, from t-shirt design to 3D printing to Lego robotics. So we're all over the place right now in the DICE Lab, and it's exciting to get back here finally after a year of where the kids just have not been in our classrooms and not been able to do these things and get their hands on it, to really being able to get back in here. We've been able to do some of them, but to have the physical items in their hands just wasn't possible with some of this stuff like 3D printers and things like that. But they could share their files and we could print it from here at the school. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we're doing here in the DICE Lab, what our vision for it is, and we're always trying to kind of grow that and push it to expand on things we can do. Also reaching out to the community. In the past, we've talked with some of the 3D printing companies here that do the orthodontics for some of the dentists and things like that that do the molds and things like that for pieces of work there for some of the different things, and kind of tie that to what we're doing inside the classroom. So that's what we're doing.
Justin, thank you. I want to give a shout out to the Monroe folks because back at the beginning of COVID, they used the technology that the Millage has purchased to put together, to build shields for first responders and healthcare workers, and they pumped out thousands of them before we could get our hands on them. And so I want to just give a shout out to the Monroe folks. Carl, you still have Jennifer Earl up there. Is there anything that you wanted to say as a superintendent of a local district?
Just that without the technology millage, we would not be able to do many of the things we already do. It not only allows us to purchase and implement technology, but it also allows us to save general fund dollars to help pay for staff and have adequate staffing for our students and our safety of our buildings with cameras and remote access and things of that nature. I look at, as a superintendent, and I know Steve and I have been doing this for many years, I just look back to those days when we were trying to get internet and email service for all teachers compared to now where our students, 7th and 8th grade, were just demonstrating at Bedford the use of Python engineering software. A little example of that is my son is a field commander in the U.S. Army as a captain, and he's in charge of a missile launch command group, and he was actually learning Python in the Afghanistan desert while he was in command because they were changing some coding programming issues out there. So to be able to have access to that program when you're in junior high and then to move into high school, that's an amazing feat. So when I talked to him and some of his friends about it, that is the main software program they use for missile launch command across the U.S. Army. So that's a pretty amazing feat for our county to be able to implement that and to expose our students to that at this level. So it's truly important to superintendents, to parents, and as a parent of a first grade daughter, the things that she's doing on remote days and in classrooms is truly amazing. I couldn't be more proud of the things we've implemented throughout this entire pandemic and beyond. And the one thing I'll say is the pandemic's been debilitating in some ways educationally, but it's also helped us grow our capacity for utilization of technology. Technology and education, while they do go hand in hand, education is not one of the quicker or more flexible programs out there. It's always been said that education is typically the slowest to move. We taught Latin well beyond probably its useful stage, and now through the pandemic we've learned to rely on the use of technology and some of its aiding tools to better improve our what we're doing in the classrooms and at home. So I think parents and students alike will tell you that without these programs, very little chance we could have survived this, and without very large gaps in learning and teaching. So not only is it important for technology, but it also helps aid everything else we do across the board.
Thank you. I want to recognize a couple people. Eric Bennett. Eric and I have been friends for a long time, but Eric is a trustee at Dundee Community Schools. I want to thank you for your service there. And Matthew's partner, Catherine Moore, she's also a board member at Lenawee ISD, so I thought I'd just point that out. Dr. Spencer, do you want to close us out?
Sure. What we've seen today, and we usually do this in person, but I think what we've seen, and Carl really touched upon it, when this all started many years ago, a decision was made collaboratively with all those superintendents and districts, principals, and that we wanted to put this in the hands of our teachers. So, and I think you saw some evidence of what happens when teachers have the resources and the skill set to use the tools that they're given. And what I want to stress is this isn't just one district that has great technology while the district next door doesn't. This is a county-wide initiative. Districts working together, sharing things like they have today. And I'm part of a group, Citizens for Educational Technology, that is promoting passage of the millage. And I hope that what you've seen today you'll share with others. And please, between March 20th and May 4th, get out and vote, and hopefully support the students of our county. So thank you very much. Anything else?
I just want to thank everyone for being here today. Let's give a round of applause. For our doctors, I'd like to thank both of them for their dedication to the community. Thank you all for being here today. We'd like to remind you, please join us for an upcoming chamber event, and please get your information and make your vote as far as the technology millage renewal is concerned. With that, we'll close out our meeting. We'd like to always thank our series sponsors, Lazy Boy Incorporated, More Buds Law, Monroe County Community Credit Union, the Mannequin Smith Group, and Beaumont Trenton Hospital. Thank you again for being here today, both virtually or in person, and we look forward to seeing you at a future chamber event. Thank you.